The Chicago business scene is as diverse as the city itself. But we don't always hear from the entrepreneurs who keep the Chicago economy colorful. That's where I come in. I'm Micaela Brown, and this is the Minority Report. It started, of course, with shoes. In 2011, Aaron Firestein gave Raaja Nemani a pair of sneakers he had customized after they met in Argentina. Raaja wore those shoes while traveling across the globe, generating conversation wherever he went. From that, Bucketfeet was born. They are in Nordstrom's across the country and have a storefront on State Street. I met Raaja at his office to talk about his journey in building the first Chicago-grown shoe company. You went to Northwestern.
Yep.
Majored in economics.
Yep.
Tell me about this finance journey. What made you want to go into business for yourself?
Yeah, so I graduated from Northwestern in 2004, and then I went into investment banking, which I think was really great training, and I don't know that I'd ever do it again, but I'm glad I did it, I guess, in retrospect. After that, I went into private equity, and in 2008, when I quit my job, it was either stay in private equity, go to business school, or do something different, and I guess I didn't want to do either of those things, so I decided to travel, and I think more than anything it gave me the confidence to finally do something that I was really, really passionate about.
You did turn off work at one point in time where you spent a year traveling around the country.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, I spent about a year and a half traveling, backpack to about 6 continents, or exactly 6 continents, and about 25 countries around the world.
All right, so when you were doing this vacation, Bucketfeet came about, correct?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
When I first took my trip, I traveled to Argentina and I met the guy that would eventually become my co-founder. We hit it off, became friends, met very serendipitously, volunteering with kids in Argentina. I later found out that he designed shoes, customized sneakers like a lot of kids do, and I bought a pair of those shoes, and those were the shoes that I wore as I traveled around the world. And those shoes inspired lots of conversations, which created lots of connections, and I thought that we could create a really powerful brand if we could create a company where every product had a story and a person behind it, and that could create connections between people, and so that caused us to start Bucketfeet with a mission to connect people through art.
So coming from the finance world and into the creative shoe design world, was your credibility of coolness ever challenged because you came from a completely different world?
I think my credibility gets challenged on a daily basis. That's why I wear backward hats and try to be cool and grow my facial hair out. No, I mean, I think people have been pretty supportive. I think if you're an authentic person, people can sort of see what type of person you are. I think, you know, hopefully I can be the one to say there are cool finance people out there, and there's cool accountants and lawyers and everything else. I don't think we should be defined by the work we do, and I think my co-founder brings enough street cred that I sort of float by.
Because this business is based in Chicago, is it difficult to build relationships internationally?
I don't think so. I mean, I think with the internet, anything is possible, and with, you know, almost any location being a flight away, you know, you can get out there and meet people. I think we've been lucky. We've built up such a strong online presence that a lot of people abroad have actually found us. Okay. So it's been very opportunistic in terms of how we've expanded internationally. I think Chicago in particular, to be able to say that we're the first sneaker brand ever founded in Chicago is an awesome thing to be able to say.
Really?
Which is true.
That's great.
Which is awesome. But it also makes us somewhat of a bigger fish in a smaller pond where, you know, when people learn about Bucketfeet, we're not just another one of those consumer brands in New York or LA. We're sort of one of very few in Chicago. And so I think it gives us a little bit more attention, which could be helpful the same way that, you know, it could be a little more difficult.
How do you feel like your heritage has impacted how you go about conducting business in your drive?
That's a good question. I guess a strong piece of Indian heritage is just having respect for others, and especially respect for elders and just people with experience. And so I think it brings with it a certain sense of modesty, which I think people appreciate, especially in the sort of entrepreneur world, the startup world, where I think you see people get sort of big heads or think they're super cool and better than you. And I'd like to think I'm not like that at all. And I think, you know, part of the reason is just how I was raised. So I sort of go through life assuming that everyone I meet has something to teach me. And I think if everyone does that, then they sort of go through life a little happier.